Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's Down and Dirty is how long does it take to become a ninja warrior in a piece of equipment? So first of all, let me say, I know you guys are tired of seeing me make these from the studio. Believe me, I'm also sick of being in the studio. Hang with me just another week or so. The weather is finally breaking here in Michigan, so we are gonna get back out in the field. We're gonna start doing some more equipment videos. So I apologize, it is what it is. Back to today's topic. How long does it take to really become an expert at a piece of equipment? I've been asked this multiple times by guys getting into the field, and the answer is, it's totally dependent upon you. I know that's a terrible answer and that's not what you were looking for, but in all honesty, the skilled trades is, first of all, it is the skilled trades. This is something that takes time to acquire as far as the actual skills of running the equipment. And there are so many factors at play. It could be 6 months that you could be really proficient on operating a skid steer or a mini excavator, or it could be a few years depending on the complexity of the work that you're doing. So what I want to do is kind of shift to a different conversation altogether and talk about kind of phases that you're going to go through as you go through your operating career. Because I guess this could break it down a little more for you and give you a little more of an estimate on how long it might take. So when you first start operating, you can call it being in the rookie phase. And this is where you literally don't know anything. You're spending the majority of your time learning about the process of what you're doing, whether it's doing residential work, learning how to dig basements and check grade, connect water and sewer leads, how to maintain a grade, how to, like you're learning the details of the job and the task that you're performing. Then you move into the phase, and this might happen simultaneously as the rookie phase, or if you hire in as a laborer and not quite an operator, this might take place afterwards, but you move into the rookie operator phase. This is where you're getting in the machine and you're literally learning how the controls work. When you're in an excavator, you're not thinking, I want the boom to move. You're thinking, what hand and what stroke do I need to make in order to make the boom go out? What motion do I need to make the bucket curl out? This is the very beginnings of becoming an operator. And in all honesty, if you get enough seat time under your belt, within probably a week, I would say you can be decently proficient at running an excavator. Now, are you gonna be able to go dig mainline on a storm sewer job or a sanitary sewer job or a pipeline? No, but you can make the machine move, you can get smooth with the motions, you actually kind of make it look like you know what you're doing. So that's kind of the second phase that you move into, is where you start learning the machine. Then you move into the phase, and to be honest, I don't even know what to call this phase, but you move into a phase where the machine becomes a part of you. You're no longer thinking about the motions you need to make as the operator to make the machine do what you want it to. You're now thinking about the machine as an extension of yourself. I want the bucket to move out. I need to place the boom here. I need to move the stick here. These are all things that just happen over time. And I would say this is probably within a month or so, you can get to this phase where you're no longer thinking about the motions that you need to make. Then you move into a phase that's kind of, you could call it an intermediate phase. And that's where you're learning better techniques to become more efficient and more productive. You develop your own kind of tricks to the trade, things that might make you operate a little bit quicker. You're also starting to study much more the way other operators do things in order to kind of hone your craft and hone your skills on the job. And so this is a phase that you'll probably remain in for, I would say, at least a year, if not 2 or 3 years, where you're really developing your technique. You're really getting more proficient on the machine. And then I would say you start to move into the advanced or even expert level of operating. And this is probably 3 to 5 years in. This is where you're no longer thinking about the basics. You have all of the basics down. When it comes to operating an excavator, you know the quickest way to bench a trench and make it look safe and nice and to dig flat and level. You're no longer focused on those things. Instead, you start getting into the technical aspects of operating. For instance, in an excavator application, how can I increase my cycle time so that I'm not wasting movements with excess boom and stick movement? In a loader, how can I not back up as much, and how can I park the truck so that it's more efficient and I can get more loads out in a day? You really start to get technical with your operating, as opposed to the way you were thinking in the intermediate phase, where you're really worried about accomplishing the task and developing the skills to accomplish that task. Now your primary focus is working on new techniques that will personally make you faster, more productive, and a better overall operator. So that whole process is really dependent upon a few factors. It's how much seat time you get. Obviously, the more seat time, the faster it's gonna go. The second thing is your drive. That is the biggest factor in this industry. You are responsible for your progress. And so if you slack and you want to do the bare minimum and you know this technique has been working all along, why change? Obviously, you're not going to hit that advanced or expert phase for a number of years versus someone who's constantly watching, which I would assume most of you guys, having watched my channel and watching other operators on YouTube, if that's how you spend your time, you're going to progress your career a lot quicker, because the whole reason you watch these videos is to become a better operator and develop new tips and tricks, right? So I would say for a normal person, within a couple of years, maybe 3 years, you start to move into that advanced phase. Now, I do want to put one big caveat on all of this. That's if you're doing the same thing every day, which most of us in this industry know that's not always the case. And a prime example is, I've just gotten back from Ohio, and one of the things I had to do was do ditch cleaning. I've never done ditch cleaning in my life. In that aspect, I went back from the advanced phase into the intermediate phase for a little while. I was worried about accomplishing the task, figuring out how I was going to go about doing that in an efficient and productive way. Now, that being said, because I'm at a level in the excavator where I've kind of been in that expert level for a while, I was able to, within 3 or 4 days, move back into that expert level to where I was starting to develop new techniques. I was worried about getting my cycle time down. I was worried about getting the muck out of the trench faster and what technique would speed up the whole process. So it's not that you're going to go back to an intermediate phase for a few years, but you will bounce back and forth between the advanced and the intermediate phase of operating. And that just happens when you switch tasks and you start doing things that you're not normally used to. I would say when it comes to tree clearing, I'm not an advanced operator at all. In fact, I would almost go back to at the very beginning of the intermediate stage. I don't have experience in that world. Versus Chris over at Let's Dig 18, he's going to be an expert in that area of the business, and he's going to be able to approach those situations with much more confidence and a much better technique than someone like myself. That's just part of the business. So I know that's not the best answer for you guys. I know one of you, is probably out there going, I wanted a 1 or 2 year answer. I'm sorry, there's just not a clear cut, dry answer to this one. It really depends on so many factors, but most importantly, like I said, it's you, your willingness to learn, and your drive in the workplace. And by the way, your employer is watching and he can pick that up. And that is what's going to advance your career quicker, is when you have that drive. And I will say this, if you're watching my channel and other channels on YouTube, I think you've got that drive, and I think you're gonna be all right. So that being said, if you've got any questions, as always, feel free to drop a comment down below. Don't hesitate to reach out and contact me with questions. We'll catch you guys on the next video.